this project? What was appealing in the story?
Well, I mean, God, it's really, I mean, it is a tough story. I mean, it is a really, and Tim McCann, who directed it, is just not scared of going there. And when I saw it, I couldn't believe how realistic that shooting was. Because I wasn't there for that, and then we had 2 or 3 days to shoot that, and I could not believe it was shocking how horrifying it was. I mean, I was really, really shaken by it. But the question was what attracted me, and for me it was really the part. It was a difficult story to tell, but for me, I just loved that part. I really loved the journey that I got to go on doing it, and him kind of going into drugs and coming out of it, and being, he's a really kind of tough guy, but thinking about it a second time going to Boston and seeing it again, I think he had good intentions, but was narrow-minded, which a lot of people are, and it did not help his son by, just being narrow-minded. But for me, it was really that part. I was just very excited about the part. I had to do it.
I had asked Sam earlier in the evening how it was he was able to leave the set every day and go home and have a peaceful night's sleep after working on this film all day. And can you speak to that a little bit?
I was in New Orleans.
You didn't answer.
I just drank. I just had drinks in New Orleans. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was definitely heavy. But for me, it was just for me. I mean, I think it really would have been harder for Nick. For me, I felt like I was playing a part. It was great, but I didn't have to do anything really, really horrid. I mean, I was a bad person, but I took him to the strip club. I mean, that was good fun. I was trying to show him a good time.
Before we ask the audience if they have questions for you, do you have any other insights or, stories from the set or something funny, even, maybe?
Funny. Maybe that we didn't have enough money to finish the film. Maybe that's
hilarious.
Maybe that's funny. On us. It was just a great experience, and Sam was just amazing. I will give you a little bit of casting thing, which I was getting into before Sam walked in, but we actually went through a bunch of actors. And Sam turned into this amazing accident for us that was just nobody could do it like Sam did. And so I want you all to know he's amazing, and also a really cool guy. I'm not just saying that, he's really awesome, and just was amazing. And everyone has just been reacting to his work, and it's just been fabulous. Other than that, I mean, everyone came in. We had very little rehearsal. The script was kind of rewritten a little bit as we were going, but pretty much the story kind of evolved pretty much the way it was written, except at the ending that we kind of fooled with. But it was very hot. It was New Orleans during the summer.
It was August.
Yeah, it was August. It was just really, really hot. Lots of mosquitoes. But
I had one little trivia bit. That scene where I dropped the dog off at the pound was just a couple miles away from where I was born.
Oh.
In Oshner Hospital in New Orleans. We're pretty close to
it. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it's trivia. Useless. I'm trying to think of funny stories. That's not funny.
I know I'm trying to think of funny things, but it was shot in maybe 21 days, I think we had a 21-day shoot. So we flew through it. We shot it on digital with 2 cameras. And the kids, we got all down there. Pretty much all the parts we got down there.
My wife is a... The woman playing my wife.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought she went to a real wife.
No. She was local.
Yeah, she was great. I mean,
she was great.
The kids were all really good, and we just tried to find locations that were around where we were shooting because we didn't have a lot of money. So we had to kind of pick locations that were close. The strip bar scene was not in the original script. It was something that was added. by Sam. Sam wanted this for a while. I'm kidding. It wasn't even. But it was happening there. And let's see. Anything else? We drank a lot. There's lots of drinking.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Could you talk a little bit about the writer's perspective in writing this story?
Yeah.
You worked with him, obviously.
Yeah.
Very intimately, and it's quite a story.
Yeah. The writer actually wrote the script 10 years ago. And it was sitting literally dormant for years. And he wrote it after Columbine. No, actually, it was it was around the Columbine time that there was another school shooting in San Diego that he began to research a lot of school shootings. And by the way, the Newtown shooting happened like a month after we wrapped our film. So when that happened, and I've told people to describe it, but it just kind of felt like things changed. Like that was sort of a game changer. The film artistically doesn't really make a stand about what's creating all this. It just kind of looks at the petri dish of societal things, guns, mental illness, things that happen to kids in the system, and which I like. You know, some people don't like that, but I kind of like that it says, hey, this is life. And then what Sam was alluding to earlier was that the writer really felt like, hey, I'm going to kind of show this, and it may not be pretty, and we're not going to shy away from it, but we're going to really show it. And so the director and all of us really felt like, hey, we're going to put you in the mind of a killer and really have you experience, unfortunately, what it feels like to be in that school. And it's pretty disturbing. I mean, even seeing it, I've seen the film 12 times or something, and it's like still like this. It's just shocking. But I mean, that's kind of, you know, we've kind of felt like we wanted to go for it. So
Definitely visceral. You can feel it. You can't.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we wrote a lot on the script, and everyone helped. There was a lot of improv in there too. So
It was beautifully done, and it's a very timely subject. Unfortunately, there's way too many of these going on, but I think it really helps to watch something like this to kind of understand what's going on. You know, with the people that you know do these horrible crimes. I mean, it's just impossible to understand. But when you see something like this, you get a glimpse into the mindset. Was that part of?
yeah, just seeing. I think the writer wanted you to see him really from a very early age and to see a whole arc for his whole life. So we didn't want to just flash to high school and go, this is a kid who's just disturbed. I mean, we kind of get that. I mean, he wanted you to see every little step along the way so you can understand and feel sympathy for this kid's plight and help us understand that these kids are kind of sort of failed by the system to some degree. And there's an intersection of a bunch of things. And mental illness is a big part of it. And, you know, for me anyway, that's really what I was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
And I have to say, I was wondering, seeing it the second time, I was wondering if this kid had had better parenting. Sorry, Sam.
Sam was horrible.
Yeah, he was
like
just
the
a
worst
horrible
parent.
worst parent ever. But if he had had better parenting and more understanding and maybe counseling, maybe someone saw a clue somewhere and did something about it, you have to wonder if the outcome would be different. The second time, I thought.
And Julie kind of gets the little help, and she gets out, but he doesn't. And there you go.
All right, we should probably does anyone have questions? Oh, goody. All right, so why don't we start at the beginning here and then work our way back up? Would that be good? Why don't you start, Bill?
Yeah, you made note to the fact that it's like art developed throughout the story, including they could just clearly shown. But could you speak to that decision process? I guess it seemed to be illustrated as far as the choices he was faced with and how he progressively started to make more choices as he went along. Never mind at the end how it was like it switched to, oh, maybe this didn't happen, I'm sitting in the car again. You know what I mean? As far as he was like very shy at first,
Right.
then he started to be a little more aggressive, then he actually fought that bully guy. It
Yeah.
seemed like there was a progression there. Is the writer kind of like intend for that to be spoken that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was like the father-son relationship was sort of a key catalyst there, and the climax of that, which is like one of my favorite scenes, is Sam scene with him in the comic books after the fight. But there were little beats that we went through and stitched in and made sure that we saw him go from this kid who was just lost, finds a girl breaks heart, everything's turning against him, he's got no help, and all he turns to are these comic books. So all his imagination and the rabbit and all that becomes his imaginary world. So, I mean, those beats, we hope, were stitched in so that finally the climax of that little arc would be the Sam scene with him, and then it ends up burning the comic books, and that's the thing that snaps him. So, I mean, we would hope that those beats were in there, if that makes any sense.